What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to our brand new show, Around the Seven Kingdoms, brought to you by Sunday Slaughter. I'm your host, Stefan, better known as Stovetop on the Discords. Um, I'm not here by myself hosting. I have my friend and colleague, Mr. Kurt Belisarius on Discord, our resident know-it-all bear player. Welcome.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome. Good
Uh,
to see
so,
you, Stefan.
Yep, good to see you. So we have some breaking fun news in the world of song. We'll get right to our news segment. We have a Brotherhood Without Banners release coming in November. A brand new faction. They haven't said if it's a mini faction or a real faction, but I'm guessing it's a real faction.
I'm thinking even if it's a mini faction, they're just like staying away from that term and that phrase.
Smart idea. Don't label it before it gets out there because then it puts expectations on it.
Yeah, just let it be whatever it is. Yeah.
Yep. Excuse me. So that's coming in November. They did list some of the things on the website of what Brotherhood Without Banners is going to be. I'm sure you're a little happy about one of the little side things with it. They do get to take either a Stark or a Baratheon unit in their army. I think that's kind of cool.
I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
What's your all right? So first off, what's your first choice,
My first choice.
or do we save that till after we go through some of those cards?
Sure.
Let's go through
You
some
could
of those
we could say
cards.
whatever's on the top of our head now, and then
Yeah.
after we've discussed everything, if it changed or not. I'll go first. Tully Cavaliers.
Yep. For Starks, that was my first. What about for Baratheon?
Um, there's a lot of like discussion about like whether or not it'll include the loyalty units or just the neutral, non-loyalty
Wide
aligned
open.
stuff.
Wide open. What are you picking?
I don't know. We don't know what the rest of the units look like in the Brotherhood Without Banners yet. I think
Mm.
you have several strong options. If you wanted a long
Kingsman,
range unit and you didn't have a long range unit, Lightbringers would be good. Kingsmen and Stag Knights would both be phenomenal.
because you'll see some of the
They've
cards that they'll
got
be getting.
Well, we're going to go into these knights and a couple of these units. I think Rose Knights could be good potentially. Like,
Yeah.
and then we don't even know if it's just combat units or if it includes like is an NCU a
NCUs.
unit or a you know.
I think combat units would be fine.
Yeah,
I don't think you need to go stepping into the NCUs because we don't need Ed mixing in with Baratheons. Or mixing
I
in with
really like that
Brotherhood.
they're doing this though. I kind of and I know like it's been discussed in the discords, and I know I guess I'm kind of in the minority on this, but I think it would be kind of cool to see like oh, the Night's Watch can take a free folk unit to help defend the wall because eventually the free folk do come over south of the wall, and Jon Snow's like recruiting them.
Yep.
Or for myself, it would be awesome to take Asha Greyjoy or a Stark unit into a Stannis list because Stannis goes north and he captures Asha and he has Northmen fighting for him. Um,
I think that is cool. I agree. The again, flavored town gives us a
yeah.
little bit of different aspects of the books and of how the houses fought with each other and against each other. I think that's pretty cool. So that is the one cool rule that they're introducing with the Brotherhood Without Banners is giving one unit from certain factions to Brotherhood. Pretty cool. Like it. They also released some of the snapshots of like half the cards covered so you can see some stuff, which we'll look at right here. Pull it up. And it has, we'll go over some of the stuff we can see real quick. The peasants have disrupt and gang up.
Yeah.
A 6-4-3 hitting on fives, 5 speed, 6-6 for their defense. They're probably what? They're probably going to be a 4-point unit, maybe a
They're
5-point
they're
unit.
confirmed. They're confirmed 4. Yeah.
They are confirmed 4. All right, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty good. That's cool.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And like that gang up works for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if it's 2 peasant units hitting 1 unit, those peasants, it's like, they're only hitting on 5s. No, they'll hit on 4s,
Yep.
and they'll throw 7 dice. That's not
Yep.
bad.
Yeah,
It's not bad at all.
for
6
4
morale's not
points.
bad. Disrupt, I think, is a chronically underrated ability.
Yep. I like it.
And they're speed 5. Yeah, they're better morale than Lannister guardsmen.
That is kind of weak. I
get it. It's like these peasants have like nothing to lose. Like the Lannisters have already like burned their farms, and so it's like okay, they're in it to win it. Yeah, but like Lannister guards should be morale 6.
They should be more strong than some peasant farmers with a spear. So that's the peasants. The next little unit card over is the one that has hidden shot and the short sword. There's speculation with hidden shot too on what it's going to be. So the hidden shot, you were saying,
yeah, and if you look closely, you can see there's the double arrow, so we know it's long ranged.
Yep,
Hitting on 3s.
that's pretty good. Speed 6. They're fast. They can shoot. And it's a 7.64 profile. That's pretty good. And I'm sure they're gonna.
We don't know the rest, but we'll see.
I'm sure they're gonna have some crazy rules over there. It's probably gonna be like traps on top of your shot or some shit. They're shooting out bolo shots in their arrows. So then the next one over is, it looks like a melee
It's like
unit.
some kind of like man-at-arms unit, it looks like, yeah.
Yep. Brotherhood, what was it? Armaments is their weapon. And it's a hit on 4, 7.64, 5 movement.
And if you get those, tied in with the peasant unit, they'll hit on 3s.
Yep. And a lot of their stuff will hit on 3s. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to see what that is. That looks more lightly armored. So I'm guessing it's an armor 4 unit.
That'd be my guess, yeah.
But we'll see. And then, so they have a couple of the special characters, or the commanders. No, those look like attachments. Liam Lemoncloak. He has battle scars, which we all know what battle scars is. You get vicious, the new one. You can re-roll attack dice, and what's the other one? It's
Vicious, rerolls, and highest die value.
Highest attack dice value. For each of the destroyed units, for each of the destroyed ranks, I think, in the unit. And then the next one over is some kind of reinforcements.
Thoros of Mirror attachment, reinforcements, and relentless.
And relentless.
Which I think both of those are good abilities. So
Yep. And then again, putting him in Kingsmen. Now you have relentless.
Yeah, that'd
Kingsmen.
be dope as hell, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be Kingsmen, like just like Stag Knights. Imagine Stag Knights in round 5 with relentless.
No, you are not trying to hit that unit. You are running
or
away from
Winterfell
that
Guard or Umber Great Axes. Like there's options here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That'll be fun list building. And then the last one is the commander.
Commander, yeah.
Yeah, and he has some kind of order after some kind of range. He gets to make a maneuver, I'm guessing.
I think it's Sentinel, Duty to the Crown, and Pathfinder, right?
Sentinel? Maybe, yeah.
I think someone else has like already deduced
Sentinel,
this and like
Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
The people that know like how big the text boxes are and like what line of text each line starts with which word, and they've already done.
They mix that up a lot of times too, though, with their weird cards.
Okay,
that's the Brotherhood Sworn Knights.
Yeah,
and they look pretty good.
They look really good.
Yeah, I bet you love them. Movement 5, hitting on 3s, 7.5 profile, 3+5+. 3+5+ with Sundering, and if your opponent does not control Crown, they get to re-roll any attack dice. Perfect for a Baratheon unit. Rally the small folk after the unit completes a melee attack, If it destroyed an enemy rank, target one friendly infantry unit in long range. They restore 2 wounds. I like that. I like that it specifies infantry.
Yeah,
So
so
that you
it's not
healing
Glory
itself.
Seeker. It's like pseudo Glory Seeker,
Yes.
and there's conditions to it. So it's like a lesser Glory Seeker or
Yeah.
Rally Cry. Yeah.
Yes. And you can't stack it, I don't feel like where you could put in those weird attachments to stack some of that extra healing onto your own
Mhm.
unit. Now it's not
Right.
healing farm. Now it's healing something else.
It's
I
not going to
like
pose
that.
the same problem that Tully Cavaliers poses presently.
Thank you. All right, so let's do the
But that's a
rest of
nice
his.
profile.
Oh, the
Six hitting on threes,
7-5.
7 and 5. I feel like some other 8-point cavalry should have 7-5 attack dice, or they used to at
You
one
think
point
that's
in
an
time.
8-point cavalry?
Oh, for sure. If that is 7 points, I'm gonna vomit.
You know
I
it's
mean, like,
7. You know it's
like,
7.
like, just do the quick comparison again, just like screamers to Champions of the Stag. Like, better speed, better attack profile, better morale, arguably better abilities. Like, I like Sundering more than crit. I like rerolls more than a token, probably. And then you also have a heal in
Eh,
there. Like,
that is pretty good.
yeah,
I
those
can't
those have
lie.
to be 8. There's no way they're not 8.
Oh, I can't wait till you see their 7.
Oh my god. If they're 7, then there needs on the next patch, Flayed Men and Champions of the Stag have to get their dice back. Like,
I love
bloody murder.
it. The models look gorgeous too, by the way. Like
Yeah.
they did an excellent job on those models.
I
Like
like the
they
guy with
just
the plume and the sword. He's
I like the dude with the Morning Star. Like
yeah.
that shit I just the way that it's modeled and how like the chain comes off, like I just like that kind of stuff I love.
I
I
like their
love like
helmets.
mm-hmm.
It's like the sword guy has like an armet, and the flail guy has like a bassinet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent work. The model sculpting here lately has been top notch. I can't wait to see some of the new gold promo models that we'll be talking about here soon. So let's go on to uh, Beric Dondarrion. Did I butcher that?
I think it's Beric Dondarrion. At least that's how they said it in
See,
the show.
that's why we were here. That's why you're here. So they leaked what his commander cards were.
Hmm.
His commander cards are assault orders, which we know. I wonder if it's going to have a kicker with it, though, and what the kicker will. Is it going to be
Right, who
swords?
knows? Because it varies from faction to faction. Like
Mm-hmm.
Starks, it's like based on swords. Victorians, it's like based on Victorian.
Yeah.
I
What's
think
Gregor based
Mountain
off of?
Gregors
Just Gregor, isn't it?
is probably. I don't know. I mean, look.
It looks like they are going to be crown dependent.
Yeah, Gregors is just. It doesn't even have to be Gregor; it just has to be a Clegane unit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty good actually,
right.
because then you could use the cavalry and shit off of it. So
Mm-hmm.
assault orders for our lightning
Our
lord,
friend
and then
Eric
he also came with Lightbringer. Uh, at,
Lightbringer.
after a friendly combat unit completes a melee attack, target one enemy unit in short range of the attacker. It suffers one panic test with a -1 to their roll for each of their destroyed ranks. If the attacker is Barrack's unit, the targeted unit also becomes panicked. That's not bad.
That's fine.
It's not.
I like
Oh,
that. I like that it's stuff that like goes together, right?
mm-hmm.
So
The panic goes. It's
you get
not a
to deal.
weekend.
Yeah, you issue out. Yeah, it's a panic token with a panic test,
Yeah.
right? It flows naturally.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a debuff to it with missing ranks, and it's after an attack, so you can trigger an extra panic test. Cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
And it's off of melee attack. It's not off of an activation. It's not.
Right.
It's a super easy trigger. Good job. Not super powerful. Nothing you're gonna like. Be like, oh yeah,
Like
can't
a
wait to get that.
good quality commander card.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll go on to his 6 times too many, which I kind of like the name of. When a friendly infantry unit would be destroyed by melee attack, that unit is not destroyed, but instead remains in play with 1 wound. Attach this card until the end of the game. While attached, this unit cannot be targeted by friendly or enemy orders or tactics cards. That's kind of...
So there's a cost. There's a
Yeah.
cost to undeath, to coming
Yes.
back. You lose a part of yourself. You can't get orders or tactics cards targeting you.
That's kind of a shitty commander card. I mean,
Not dying,
not
forcing
dying,
forcing your opponent to burn an extra activation, like that's pretty good.
but you can still die from the panic test.
Yes,
Still die from
potentially.
the panic test.
Yeah,
And then once you do, it's so what's better?
you could use it on the panic test.
Yeah, but what about
It's like to the last in card form.
what about the Greyjoy one?
What is dead may never die.
Yeah, which one's better? 6 times too many, or what is dead may never die?
What is dead is better
Mm-hmm.
if for no other reason than it has a secondary ability where you can just use it as a heal card.
Yep.
So it has
And
that.
there's no
extra-
negative. There's no negative on the unit.
You're talking about the can't be targeted part?
Yeah, like
That also includes enemy orders and
yeah,
cards.
That's-
So
that-
it's
which
not
is-
just a negative.
but that also means that you're not playing some of these cool cards that I'm sure they're going to have in this deck.
But in terms of the not die ability, they're both just 1 wound.
Yeah.
What is dead and 6 times too many. So
No, I don't know. I guess while attached, you can't 6 times too many it again. That keeps you from double using that card on a unit. So that kind of helps, I guess, with that. Not too bad. I mean, the only thing I don't like is the negative that it can't be targeted by friendly orders.
Well,
or
how many
tactics cards.
friendly units, orders, or tactics cards that target are there? Even we don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know for them, but like martial training. I mean, you're gonna want to put something cool on that commander. He had a lot of cool shit on him. He had Sentinel, Duty, and Pathfinder. He wants to move.
Yeah. But remember, though, it doesn't have to be Barracks unit. It can be any.
You're right.
It doesn't even specify like infantry. I mean, if you needed to, you could use it on your peasants to keep that disrupt going, an extra activation, an extra
That's
round.
a good point. Or that knights, you can put on the knights, and
the knights attack again and heal up something else again, and
because none of those extra things on those knights were orders. Rally small folk is just an ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not all right, not too bad. All right, maybe a B minus.
I think from what we've seen, Brotherhood Without Banners is shaping up very nicely.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my hands on it in November.
Much closer to like a Martell release than a Bolton release, you know.
Yep. And I think the modeling with flaming swords everywhere is going to be awesome. Like there are so many different ways you can go. I love painting fire, so it's a no-brainer for me. But I think it's gonna be a super cool faction to play with. Super cool. So
yeah, I plan on getting them when they come out. So
in November, and it's probably gonna be the end of November, is my guess. Hopefully, the beginning.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because so that'll transfer us into our next topic, which hopefully they'll be releasing around Nats. U.S. Nationals is around the corner next month. That is October 18th or 19th and 20th, right? Or 18th and 19th.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, it's 18th, 19th, 20th. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, Sunday is the tournament. But a lot of us are getting in on Friday, and I'm sure we're probably going to be going out and having some drinks and stuff. But so, uh, Nats, that's around the corner. Um, I'm hoping they would give us Brotherhood starters or the winner.
We'll see. I doubt it.
Please, Simon. I doubt it. You're right. But I have heard from some people that they are going to be sending the new gold Allison and Rhaenyra models. So hopefully those will get there in time. There are, I know our buddy's trying to get them there as hard, as fast as he can. But we're crossing our fingers that we get those gold models for everybody.
Yeah.
So Nats is in Roseville, Minnesota. It will be again October 18th through the 20th. They've Evan, a local in Minnesota, is the TO. He's said that he's going to be bringing in a food truck, hopefully, for one of the nights for a community dinner, so we all don't have to go anywhere. We can all just kind of hang out at Game Center in Roseville. I think that's super cool. That'll be fun. Then we don't have to lose anybody. Everybody's right there. We can just all hang out and have some drinks. They have beer at Game Center already. They closed their kitchen. Sorry, no more tater tots. Sorry, Brick. No more tater tots for you. But Evan bringing out the food truck. Killer job, Evan. Thank you. They did announce that they will be using the new Battlefield terrain, which is the, and we'll switch over, which is the
Battlefield layouts.
yeah,
The
so
presets.
like 1 through 6 you roll, you get a choice on certain ones. Me personally,
That's what they did at Adepticon.
I like it. I think the new Battlefield terrain setup makes everything smoother for tournaments because you're not waiting and deciding what you're going to pick. You have your set up, you pick out what you got, you throw it down where you want it, and you go. And everybody has the same setup. And you don't have 2 corpse piles, 2 trees on every table all the time. You get a little bit of variety. Now,
I prefer player picked.
I know you.
And I think the 2 corpse pile, 2 heart tree is a bit hyperbolic. I think it doesn't actually turn out that way as often as people make it out to be that way. I like players having agency, and choosing as much as they can, controlling as much as they can. But I don't set the rules, so we're going with Battlefield presets.
You will have to say I think for tournaments, I think it helps. It puts everybody on the same footing. You don't
I
think
disagree.
so?
No.
You don't? I like it. So that is, I don't know, man. The Battlefield terrain, you just don't like it because you can't pick exactly what you want for every scenario.
Even on player picked, you can't pick exactly what you want. Your opponent has some say too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it puts more of the power in your hand as opposed to less. Whereas with the Battlefield presets, you get to pick from, this pool. You get to pick where it goes, and your opponent gets to pick where his pieces go. But you're still limiting. You're just limiting one part of it.
Yeah, you're just taking.
And I feel like as much as placing that terrain is a skill, I feel like selecting that terrain is also a skill. And we're just taking one part of player skill out of the competition.
I can see what you're saying. I think that also the skill part of it is using what is given to you to your advantage and being able to adapt. Because if you were, and I know we're all playing toy soldiers on a table, but in real life you're not picking exactly where you're going to fight every time. You're gonna have random spots
Yeah, there
where
were some random, surprise ambush encounters where an army didn't pick its terrain, but you also have like look back historically, like the Romans would pre-select their battlefields. They had engineers like figure out like the gradient of slopes and like figure out where they wanted to fight and do battle because a pitched battle is a big risk.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to commit to battle. You could shadow the enemy for months on end potentially and then pick ground of your choosing to engage them on. This and that rang true all the way from ancient times through Napoleonic Wars, the U.S. Civil War, up until World War One. Really, World War One was when we finally had no longer like individual battles, but like border to ocean front
Mm-hmm.
lines.
I see what you're saying. I agree. Yeah, you might turn me a little bit to it. I know that.
Speaking of terrain, though, I do have a mea culpa. Um, I spread some false information in the first episode, which
Uh-oh.
I need to remedy. I was wrong about forests disallowing charges because they block line of sight. If you go into the rule book and look up the terrain, it says the forest blocks line of sight when checking for a ranged attack. So
Oops, sorry.
you can't hide in a forest to prevent a charge. You can still use the forest to get that +1 to your defense for the fortified bonus, but you can't
Can't
hide
hide
to it.
behind the trees.
Cannot prevent a charge just because you're in trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
So had to correct myself on that. Don't want to spread
No.
false things.
Did you read it in the comments?
Yeah, one of my locals like corrected me on that, I think. But like, I that's something that someone else told me, I want to say like at LVO. And so it's like, oh, I'd been operating under this false assumption for a couple months, so whoops.
Ooh, trees are awesome now. I'm picking
Right.
trees all
Oh
the
man.
time. I can't wait for battlefield terrain where everything has a tree.
It feels like there's lots of bogs in battlefield terrain. And
There
maybe
is.
that has something to do with my opinion of
It
battlefield
all
terrain.
comes back to the
No, it always
Baratheon
bogs
movement.
and Baratheons don't like bogs and swamps.
Anytime we talk about movement, Kurt has PTSD.
Before throw egret on top of that. Yeah,
You need your own egret. That's what you need.
maybe. I don't know. It's like if you go up against a free folk player, if you're on a bog, if you start out at speed 4, makes you speed 3. Egret makes you speed 2. Hidden traps make you speed 1. So you march for 2 inches. God, kill me.
Hopefully you're not playing the dragon egg.
Yeah.
You're moving 0. You're not moving. All right, so Nats is going down. Nats is going to be in October. We were just talking right before we hopped on, and we were looking at the Nats count. We are up to on stats that are signed up. We're up to 53 with 2 on the waiting list. So we're up to 55. That's what's signed up on stats. So I've heard that there's probably around 63 that have been confirmed. Plus probably more coming on the way. Hopefully we have some more. Just anybody who wants to buy a ticket is more than welcome to come. Game Center should have the tickets up now, I think. I thought I saw a link posted by Evan. So if you have, hopefully I'll put it in the description. I'll put all the links in all the description down below. But yeah, we have people from Canada. Nobody from Great Britain this year. Nobody's coming across the pond, so we're safe. We're keeping the trophy on this side of the Americas. That's kind of nice. But we do
unfortunately, we won't have Clarence this year, but we will have some Canadians.
Yep, we got a couple Canadians. N-Line's coming down. That's awesome. N-Line came last year, and he's bringing a crew with him. So hopefully, excuse me, hopefully it'll be a fun time. A lot of names on here that we know. You're bringing your crew from Kansas City.
Yeah, I think we'll have a bigger group from Kansas City than we had last year. So
Nice. It'll make up for us not bringing anybody from Ohio. We it's only me coming, I think, from Ohio, just to stream. I'm not playing. We'll hopefully be live streaming the event like we did last year. I've been in contact. I know we're going to be there. I know I have power. I know I have internet. I just don't know if it's big enough. And they don't know if it's big enough. As long as it's like it was last year, we should be good. So we should have a live stream going and some coverage of our U.S. Nationals tournament. Going through your crew, we have Jan coming from New Jersey's coming. We have guys coming from California, West Coast Bannerman.
yeah, Carl's going to
Carl's
be there.
bringing the crew from California. We have some guys from Louisville, Indianapolis, all over. So if you're
Second place last year, Banesh looks like he's signed up. He's going to be there.
yep, Banesh, the Targaryen mastermind, is going to be there.
Fang Vu, Fang's going to be
Yep,
there.
another Baratheon player. Guys can complain about movement together. All the Montana guys are gonna. There's a bunch of Montana guys are going to be there. It should be really cool.
I don't see the Texas guys.
No, we don't see the
It's too
Texas
bad.
guys. But hopefully we get a lot of people that just buy some tickets, show up, and have some fun. I mean, it is the U.S. Nationals. It is a tournament, but I mean, if I played, I'd just play for fun, just to play and have fun, roll some dice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be a
Who
great
knows what'll
tournament.
happen? Yeah.
So again, if you haven't, you ain't doing nothing. You're around the Minneapolis area, and the end of October. Kind of look us up. Come over to Game Center in Roseville, and we'll be there October 18th through the 20th, playing some song and rolling some dice and drinking some beers.
Drinking some beers.
Yeah, it should be fun. So that kind of goes through our news section of what we had going through recently. We want to kind of switch over to Mr. Kurt and his list building segment. He's going to talk about his infamous lists for his Baratheons and
Oh boy.
what the changes to Baratheons did to his list that he might take to
Probably. Yeah. We don't have to be
might
too
take
secretive
to
about it.
Matt's. He doesn't want to tell anybody, but we're going to show it anyway. So when we first go through your list, you did a Baratheon, of course, Stannis, rightful heir.
Yeah. So my old like go to, Stannis rightful heir. You could throw him in really any of the 7-pointers. I feel like was a fine option. Kingsmen, Queensmen, or Stag Knights. I think were all perfectly acceptable at that 7-point spot. And then you'd probably have like, at least back then, I'd run Stormcrows with Justin Massey to go fetch Tactical Approach.
Why would you want to fetch Tactical Approach?
Hey, it was a good card back in the day
That's a
for
good card.
5 years. Champions of the Stag, because you need like a cavalry in it, and that was the go-to probably for a lot of Baratheon players. You could have some flexibility there if you wanted to do flayed men. You'd have to do something else with your Stormcrows, but because of the neutral cap, you got to juggle all that. But
Yep.
and then you'd probably want like some Lightbringers, and you can throw Braun, and here there's your some NCUs. You got 3
Davos,
NCUs.
Axel, and Alistair.
That's pretty close to what I ran at Adepticon. I think there's a couple differences, but so this, we can look at what's changed, right?
Yep.
And what's kind of fallen out of favor. Crownland Scouts got released, and Champions of the Stag suck. So why not save 2 points? They nerfed Tactical Approach, and different people have different takes on it. I already gave my opinion last episode.
Yep.
Rightful Heir is still serviceable. He's still the token guy. I still think the copy that goes on Stannis himself is perfectly fine, going for 2 wounds. But you can play other commanders too. You know, there's other Stannis eyes out there. There's multiple Stannises, so I think you're better off going with One True King at this point. He's higher rated. He was before the change even happened, so you just run with Stannis. He's got that self healing with Dauntless, which couples quite nicely with To the Last because that's a morale test. So Dauntless can
heal off.
You can heal up, and then you're alive with 2 wounds instead of just 1. So that's 2 is better than 1,
especially with Kingsmen.
And then I think for me at Adepticon, where I had a very middling performance, I went like 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. I'd never tied before, so that was interesting. But it was like at the point where like it was the last game of the tournament, and I'm like, I did not care, and I was playing Gary, and I don't think he really cared, and it was like it's just it was the last round, and it did not matter. Neither one of us was winning the tournament, so it was just. But I did like pick up some things from Adepticon, watching other people play, and like how impactful Maester Crescent can be with his once per game. And so I've joined the Church of Crescent since Adepticon.
Ooh.
I like to have him in my lists. You got to have your trusty Davos and Varys. It doesn't have to be Varys. It could be, whatever you want to put there. I like the utility that Varys provides and the flexibility that he provides into a lot of different matchups.
And he also makes your opponent think about what's going to happen if they take those zones.
It gives you some stuff. Yeah,
especially if you're down to like 2 wounds, 3 wounds, and they want to take swords at the top of the round. You got a unit with 2 wounds left. You don't want those auto hits dropped on.
Global damage is good.
Yep.
It can snipe a secure kill. Yeah.
Yep. That nobody wants that. Nobody wants to take swords at that point.
And since we're not taking Rightful Heir and we're not trying to dig for a tactical approach anymore, we don't need Justin Massey. We don't need the Stormcrows to get the discount on him because he's 2 points when Tyrion is 1 point for some reason. So we can just throw that whole unit out, and that leaves us with 8 points to play with. I like Baratheon Halberdiers at 6 points, and Ramsay Snow and Reek. A nice juicy attachment for them, so why not?
Yep. Taunt.
That intimidating presence can work with your Lightbringers Vicious.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the tactical reposition from your Crownland Scouts to get your taunt in position in range to make it harder for your opponent. There's some things you can do there.
And nobody really wants to now charge those halberdiers with Snow and Reek in them.
Yeah.
Like you taunt them, I was going to charge them anyway. No, you weren't. You really didn't want to charge that unit.
Well, then if they do, Ramsay gives them Fueled by Slaughter so they can heal themselves back up.
Exactly. They have a 3 armor, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead and charge them.
They're very good for 6 points.
Yeah. And that's pretty good. So it's Kingsmen with Stannis, One True King. Lightbringers, Naked. Crownland Scouts. Halberdiers with Ramsay and Reek. And then you have Davos, Crescent, and Varys.
Yep. And that's probably going to be one of my lists for U.S. Nationals. So spoiler alert, you all know my secret now. One of my lists is probably going to be that.
One True King.
Yep.
Now
I've jumped ship from the Rightful Heir to the same guy. Switched from Stannis to Stannis.
You're not going to mount him?
No.
Try and play the mounted version?
The single worst commander in the whole faction? No, thank you.
I wish he was so good. But yeah, so that's pretty good. What would you more want to play that as a defensive mission? Or is that's a go and kill him, go and take the objective, sit on it?
It's actually a great list for Honed and Ready, if you get Honed and Ready.
That's good.
Because One True King has Test of Faith, and that gives you +1 to your defense, which goes away after that unit gets attacked. So it's like, that card is not very good. It's just a one-time boost of 1 defense, right? but it's actually really great in honed and ready for blocking arrows from the walls because
That's
those
a
don't
good
count as
point.
attacks. So if you want your Lightbringers to sit on one of those objectives to score, boost them up to 3 armor. They'll be
That's
more
so
durable.
dirty.
Yeah.
That's so dirty. That's a good.
Ah,
That's a good
yeah, I'm
point.
giving all my tricks away.
But yeah, that's good. That you can shift them up, shoot off of it. Then when the end of the round comes, you play that card on them to give them that +1. Now you have 3+ archers sitting on a node. That's pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
And with Crownland Scouts, you can shift them into position
Yep.
easier. You can shift the Baratheon Halberdiers into position. You can shift them off of objectives so they
Yep.
don't get shot.
Yep.
All kinds of cool utility there.
Attack repost start of an enemy turn, so it's like, oh, were you gonna go on the board and shoot me by replacing your NCU space with shoot arrows? Nope, no, you weren't.
I'm backing up 3 inches.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can only shift forward 2. Too slow. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yep.
What do you think the weakness of that is?
Same was every Baratheon list. It's weak to being out activated by higher activation lists. It's
More movement.
more mobile. Targaryen lists come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have bear spam from
God,
free
I
folk.
forgot
We
about
got to
that.
potentially worry about.
Yeah, that's
So
gonna be. So anyway, so your list that again honed and ready. Good point to put that
yeah,
as
I
a
think
honed
it's
and
good for
ready
that
list.
mission. Yeah.
It's a good killing list because you can run Kingsmen's up someone's ass and shoot Lightbringers at them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I've always
good.
liked having like a balance to my list, like at least one cavalry unit, at least one ranged unit, at least one kind of anvil infantry unit. Yeah.
Yep, I totally agree. The only thing that sucks against that is when people do all cav or
Mm-hmm.
all one thing and it throws your balance off.
Yeah. There's skew in the
Mm-hmm.
game. Anyone can roll up with a skew list. And I ran into the buzzsaw that was Banesh's skew list last Nationals against 2 dragons, a screamers, and like a Golden Company swordsman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna run into those from time to time. You can try to make a skew list of your own. So maybe you do something skewy with your second list.
Mm-hmm. See, I feel like when I build my list, I build my one balance, and then I build my one to throw everybody else off. Like I want one that is going to make people look at it and like, oh shit, if he runs that, I kind of have to do it like this because he has 3 cav units. I better play more defensive, or I better pick this list because I might have to go up against 3 cav or 3 super heavy Tully cav or whatever it is. But I feel like you take the one, like you were saying, I always do the infantry, archers, cav, and then someone to support one or all of those units.
Like I think that's a good starting point, like a good baseline to a good rubric, right, for building a list.
And then you can
And like for me it was just like, oh, I'll just take this old list and what changed. All right, this I'll rotate out because it's not as good. This I'll slide in because it got buffed, and I'll see what points I have left over, and then what can I be creative with in the end. That's how I approached this list anyway. It was just kind of updating an older list.
Have you played with Crown Scouts yet?
I have.
What do you feel like? How do they feel?
They're okay. Like they tend to die. They're not the most survivable unit, and they don't hit particularly hard, but they're there more for like the utility and the mobility that you don't otherwise have.
They're definitely not your alpha strike unit.
No, they're not. They're gonna, I hate hitting on fours. Yeah, they're all right. Like I don't, they're not like game changing. OP best unit in the game,
For
and they're
6
not
points.
garbage either. They're just like changes of the stack suck. So
Especially when you put them
I'll
when you
save
put
2 points and run an okay light cavalry unit. Like,
I so wish that One True King had or Stannis had some kind of lance cav. Especially for 6 points like Riders of High Garden.
yeah.
6 points lance cav instead of Crownland scouts.
I don't know. That's okay with me. I don't think he needs Lance. Besides, they just made all the Lance Cav throw 9 dice for some reason.
They'd also make your lance cav speed 4.
No, and that's why it's a 2-list format. So if you want to run Lance, you got Riders of High Guard, and you can run a Renly list.
Yep. And Renly has plenty of sweet, cool options that you can play around with.
There's so many, like, when we talk about like the state of balance, and like the external balance is really great right now. Something that Baratheons, I've said this so many times before, have benefited from is internally they have so many great commander options.
Yep.
You had 2 really good Stannis commanders. You could do, you can still play Rightful Heir. He's not terrible. He's still the token guy. He still is gonna manipulate stuff. He still has, what a lot of people say is his best card, which is Harsh Conditions, which went unchanged. So you can still run either of those Stannises and be happy. I think Justin Massey is really overlooked. I think he's a phenomenal archer commander. And then, they just changed Davos, so you can like fix an extra attachment in there and get creative and do some fun stuff. On the Renly side, I think there's a whole plethora of solid commanders. The top rated commander in Baratheon, last time I checked, was Loras Tyrell. I think Renly 1 and Renly 3 are both perfectly acceptable choices. I really like Courtney Penrose commander. Eldon Estermont was really popular back in the day. He's still got all of his tools. And gosh, who am I missing? Is that it?
I think that's probably it.
Yeah, like I said, there's like so many different to choose from. Like, yeah, you have a lot of good choices. Like internally, pretty fortunate to have the options that we have. And I think that's true with like a bunch of other factions too. I can't speak to the factions I don't play that much competitively, but like I think there's several good Stark options. You could go Ned, you could go Great John. I know some people play Mage, like they did like a Mage Tully Cav, last stand survivable, unkillable Tully Cav list.
Yeah. Dirty people that need to wash their hands clean of that. But yeah, so you're right. The couple factions have very deep commanders, and I can't wait. Honestly,
I just hope someone runs Jorah at Nationals, because I think he's overlooked by Drogo all the time, and Mother of the Dragon just got buffed too. Like there's good commanders out there, and it's not like just one guy dominating the scene like we saw in the past with Mance Rayder or Jon Snow or Othel.
Corn, the stupid corn stuff.
Yeah.
I think that getting rid of that and leveling everything out, I think really helped. It makes it less swingy, less. Oh, I got the one dude that's gonna stop your unit that can't do nothing now for the rest of the game, or whatever the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. I like the list building. I want to do a.
We're going to try to do this every episode. So next episode, either we'll have our guest build a list for us, or Stefan will build us a list
Yep.
for a faction of his choice and
Yep.
walk us through his list building processes.
Yeah. It's real fun. It's what stuff does really good for me. No, I'm more of a defensive player. Unless I play Targs and then I force myself to be offensive. But for me, I'm me personally when I play more of a defensive game. When I play like Night's Watch now, I'll play more of a defensive game, more of a movement shenanigans type stuff. But with I try and force myself to play aggressive when I play aggressive armies. Playing Greyjoys, you got to play Greyjoys aggressively. You got to play Targs aggressively, because if you don't, you're stuck there a lot of times getting shot to shit by all everybody else's sundering archers. So you got to play aggressively with that stuff, and you have to deploy right.
Ah, so next
Boom.
episode we can look forwards to seeing Stefan's list building. But this episode we're going to move into our new segment. We're going to
Yes.
talk about deployment,
Yes, and Mr.
or I
Kurt.
guess I'm going to talk about deployment.
Yes, I'm gonna sit here patiently and watch you talk about deployment.
Watch me squirm.
I do have your stuff pulled up. So your first one, he sent me some little doodles that he did
Yeah.
on different
Well,
deployment sections.
yeah. Let's. I'm not ready to jump into that.
Oh, you know what? All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
Here.
do
Let
your
me.
stuff first.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we need to like do a
Yeah, we'll do a little
cut here?
transition.
Yeah.
Beep. And then it goes to you now. All right, here you go.
Okay. So, I've had multiple people reach out to me for assistance with playing Baratheons in general, but part of that includes questions about deployment. And so I've answered this question in private messages multiple times, and I figured might as well just put it out there for everyone. Um, I think anyone in the game, regardless of skill level, can apply certain kind of um, rules or tests to help them with their deployment. I don't think it needs to be this big scary thing. I think regardless of your skill level, anyone can do basic deployment. Um, and I think like very step one, if you know nothing about, you don't know the missions very well, and you don't know what your opponent's commander cards are, or you're unsure of yourself. At the very least, you understand rock paper scissors, right? So I say step one is rock paper scissors. So if you've got a unit of wardens who don't hit very hard, the only reason they're there is because they have 3 up armor, and you also have a unit of R'hllor Faithful who have great morale but terrible armor, and across from you is a Gregor in a unit of pyromancers who bypass armor, and I don't know, pick a unit out of the hat. Um, a unit of Lannisport Watch, whatever. Uh, Go ahead and don't put your wardens across from those pyros. Put your R'hllor Faithful across from those pyros, and
So
put
what
your
you're saying
wardens
is,
across from the City Watch.
know thy enemy.
Yeah, I mean, like to a basic, very basic degree. Like you're gonna know what your own morale and armor stats are, and you're gonna see, wow, if there's a unit that bypasses armor, I don't want to put my armored unit across from them. You know, so there you go. There's step one. Or a super lightly armored infantry unit that doesn't move that fast, that's got really low armor. You don't want to stick that straight across from your enemy's long range archers. That'll just shoot them to pieces before they get anywhere. Rock paper scissors it out. Don't go after the paper with your rock, and don't attack don't attack paper with rocks, and don't attack scissors with paper.
That's perfect. Don't attack scissors with paper.
But there you go. That's like easy peasy step one.
Don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. I think like step two, if like you're getting more of a feel for the game and you want a bit more, um, you want to be a bit more thoughtful or strategic about your deployment. I think. Let's see. How do I want to go here? Go ahead and pull up that first image. I think you can.
The 5 point.
Yeah. So like if there's a 5 objective map here, right? And you have 3 infantry units and a cavalry unit.
Cavalry being the one with the one slash across it.
Yeah. Infantry are X and cavalry are a dash. You can do what I call like a battle plan, right? Where you're caring more about your troops and the formation they're in, and simultaneously kind of caring about the mission type, right? So you can, I'd say step 2 is like taking into account missions and implementing that into your deployment, and like basic formations, right? So what we have is a wheeling attack. If you've ever seen the movie Gettysburg, where they're defending Little Round Top, the 20th Maine, and it's that great scene where he just screams bayonets. We're gonna wheel down the hill. We're gonna swing right, and we're gonna push them down the hill. So the whole army is working in concert with one another, and it's just this like a door swinging.
Swinging open or swinging closed.
You're just gonna sweep, and your far 2 units here are going to try to maybe outflank. Maybe your center unit's going to hit them head on, and then your one anchor infantry that's in the very center is going to be like the hinge, right?
Yep.
It's just going to hold. You're going to throw that on the center, and everything else is going to swing around, and you just kind of do that all together, right? And then you have units supporting one another, as opposed to being picked apart piecemeal. Divide and conquer. Keep them together. Keep them so they can support each other. This is like my bread and butter for like as Baratheon, right? Because I'm not going to outmaneuver anyone. I'm not going to beat anyone to a race to a certain objective or anything. It's like I'm going to keep all my guys together so they can support each other, and you can concentrate fire, right?
Yep. And another thing here is with those 5 objective missions, a lot of people take their units and they try and capture the 3 that are closest to them. They try and catch the 2 closest and then the center one.
And that'll spread your line out so thin.
Yes.
Right?
So what that does is that moves those units so that now you're in one-on-one contests, or if your opponent's smart enough, they bring 2 units against your 1 unit.
So 2v1, 2 of your isolated units. Yeah.
Yep. And or even worse, you put something over there that you think is going to be your this is going to be my heavy hitter. I'm going to put it on my left flank, and then they deploy all on your right side. Now your one badass unit is stuck by himself. Now your 8-point unit, 7-point unit is sitting on a node doing nothing all game. Like that's not what you want to do, and that's what I try to do when I deploy against stuff like that too. When you deploy against that, you also want to, do you want to meet your force with my force, or do I want to do the opposite of what you just did, put over to the left side, put in my hinge unit, and try and make you take that, you see what I'm saying? Try and force you to make a mistake somewhere in your maneuverability that I can punch a hole through. But yeah, that's good. The door swinging open and using that cav unit on the right flank to try and push that side of the field. And if your opponent did spread, when you push onto that other objective with your cav unit and your probably speed 6 unit next to it, you can push to that node. Now you got your 3 nodes. You got those 2, and now your middle with your tank unit sitting on top of it.
I wanna like build on this. Like you
Go
can
ahead.
even let's say you had 5 units or even just 4 units. You could even shift it over a little bit, and you can deploy in depth. Like I know other people have said, never deploy in depth and never deploy on the extreme flank. I think it's perfectly fine to do so, especially in a 5 objective map like this. Put your like an infantry unit that you're going to want to push up to that far token, and have your archers right behind them. So you got boom, boom. Those 2 units are going to take the 2 on the extreme right, and you just put them one in front of the other. I think that's totally fine. That way, you're not trying to move a unit sideways or diagonally. You can just forward march and just be aggressive, and then the archers can support that forward unit. That's totally fine too.
Yeah, and then also if you put archers behind them, as that forward unit pushes past that first objective,
Then the archers sit on the back one.
your
Bam.
archers sit on the back one to support that other one moving to that farther objective on the other side.
And
of the
those
field.
archers can usually have the range to support A, that opposite objective, and B, even kind of the center objective area.
Yep. Because the first 2 objectives are 12, aren't they 12 inches apart?
Yeah.
And then to that center one, I think it's only like 20 inches.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of shenanigans you can pull to move, take horses, get into that range to throw some shots downfield at that center objective.
That way you can sit on an objective and still be contributing to the fight.
Yep.
Yep.
Totally agree.
Yep.
That's a good one. Going into your next one?
Sure. So, kind of just along that same vein of, talking about like formations, I think you can look to history. You can look at, so what we have pulled up here is my very, very great Microsoft Paint sketch of recreating Gaugamela, right, for Alexander the Great. He has his line
Staggered.
repressed on the left, and he has his cavalry shoot out to the right. The Persians shadowed him, which created a hole in like the center right-ish part of their line, and then his cavalry could shoot forward. And this will all, of course, depend on like the types of units that you're bringing. If it's a slow ass Speed 4 Champions of the Stag, they're probably not going to exploit a hole. But I mean, if you shoot out to the right, and your opponent then tries to flank your forward infantry unit, then your cavalry can smack them in the rear.
Mm-hmm. You're getting those angles. You're trying to get those angles on those units. No, you're fine. You're trying to get those angles on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then with the line, you never want to have like a line abreast perfectly flush, right? You want to have, I kind of like this cascading effect, because the unit in the center, your very forward unit, its left flank is protected by that next unit. And that can be an infantry unit, it can be an archer unit, it really doesn't matter. It's protected from being flanked on the left. And then that unit's protected from being flanked by the next unit further back and further back and further back.
Now, when you say protected, what we mean by protected is that unit is sitting above the 50% line of the side of the flank of the unit in front of you.
Yeah,
so nobody can come from the top and get into your flank to charge, because your other unit is charge blocking, holding that other unit's flank clean.
And that's also up to you. Like, you can make that a hard protection where it's like they physically, by the rules, cannot fit in. Or you can make it like a soft protection where it's like, you can come in, but then I'm going to counterflank you.
Yep.
So that's up to you. See how the game is going and how you're feeling, and then react accordingly, right? Not every game is going to be the same.
I always love charge blocking people. I'm sorry. I love being able to put that move.
So it's a very cheeky way to play.
Yeah, I love being able to put that unit up there, and they're like, "Wait, I can't charge them." Like, yo, man, I'm like a centimeter over 50%. Sorry.
And then if they really wanted to flank your back left unit, like, they'd have to really spend the time and resources to like get around all the
Mm-hmm.
way, you know.
And to do that, you would have to either be a super cav, an outflank, something that has double moves, or taking horses like Lady
Hmm.
Val or whatever.
Yeah, they have to expend resources to
Yep.
exploit that. Um, but like I guess my like lesson there is don't be afraid to take the formations and tactics and battle plans that worked in history and recreate them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to make some shout outs to some YouTube channels. King and General's channel does a lot of really great animated battle recreations from like medieval battles. Um, Epic History TV had a great
Oh, I saw
series
those.
on Napoleon and recreating like Napoleon's
Mm-hmm.
battles and like putting those into, so you could see like where the units were and where, when, and why they moved to where they moved. Like,
And what each unit
re-
kind of did.
go recreate Austerlitz. Like, impress me, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't know. Maybe I should have had this at the very beginning, but the convex and the concave lens.
Oh.
This can probably be up there with your like lesson number one rock paper scissors lesson. Okay, this is any person that's played StarCraft will tell you you want a concave where your units are the blue, right,
Yep.
and they're facing outwards into the white. Your opponent's out in the white. So if you're convex, you're like, okay, you're kind of guarding all the angles of approach, but by doing so, you're looking in different directions. And then, even though you might be like, circling the wagons, so to speak, your line of sight arcs aren't going to be overlapping, and your units are going to be, even though they're close together, they're going to be isolated in terms of being unable to support one another.
Yep.
Whereas with a concave, if you can get them all facing the same way, and this
Or tilted towards the same way. You don't have to.
tilted towards it,
Yeah.
yeah, like they can be angled slightly, and this really comes in like with that swinging the door, right? You can see that creates just naturally a concave. Then all your units can concentrate and hit the same opposing units potentially. They at least have line of sight of them, if nothing else.
Yep.
Right. Now, if they're ranged units, then yeah, then they can all concentrate fire. So
Mm.
always go for a concave if you can. Concave. One of the tricky parts with like trying to create a concave is, okay, if you're angled inwards and you're on the edge there, it's easier for your opponent to outflank you possibly. But
If you
I
have
think in
that fast
general, like
unit
you
on
can
the
you can
edge.
use the edge of the board, right,
Yep.
to like anchor your line. You can there are things you can do. Uh,
You can use the edge of the board to charge block.
you can use terrain. You can use a palisade. You can use stakes. You can use a bog. You know,
You're going to get to use all that at nationals.
there you go. You won't have a choice.
Sorry, I had to throw that one in there. I thought it was pretty good.
But there's my brilliant super gosu deployment. It's not all that cracked up. It's not all that complicated.
No, it's not. It's
It
the
doesn't need to be this daunting thing. It's like for me, I'm a history nerd, so I'm like, I'll recreate Gaugamela.
See, I kind of go through deployment a little differently because you go 1v1, you go 1-1-1-1-1 back and forth.
Hmm.
I like to show a false front. I like to trick my opponent into thinking what I'm going to do and then do the exact opposite. So, like my cav unit, if I can, I usually put my cav unit towards the center of the board or off center of the board so that
Hmm.
you don't know which way I'm going to go with it. I
Yeah.
could go to the right flank, I could go to the left flank. Just depends on where you place something next.
Hmm. And that way, you're like revealing as little information as possible to your opponent. For
Exactly, and that's
placing
what I was
that
going to
center
say.
unit down first. Yeah.
That revealing the least amount of information to your opponent so they can make the best decision is paramount to deployment. If you
Another thing you can do is you can use outflank to aid you in deployment. So if you have an outflank unit, your first deployment can be, I'm holding this unit off the board for outflanking.
Yep. And then they have
Now you deploy your second unit.
Yep. Even if you lose the roll off and you're choosing, or they made you deploy first. Oh, you made me deploy first? Okay. I'm putting my outflank on.
And that outflank unit doesn't have to be like, oh, all the way behind my opponent. No, you can just put it next to your army.
Yeah, you don't have to jam it down someone's throat.
You can just deploy it pretty normally, yeah.
Yeah, you just put it off to the side. You can even leave a hole in your line, so when you march up, that your stagger, like we were talking about, that staircase that you're building, that they fall right in line with that staircase.
There you go.
They could become your linchpin or your shoot around hook. That just makes your opponent think differently. And that, again, like what we were saying.
In like summary or in summation, I would say like, rock, paper, scissors. And then maybe play the mission and consider what the mission is. And then maybe think about formations. And then maybe think about, recreating this epic battle from history,
Okay, that's yours. Mine is trick the shit out of everybody. Make them think you're doing something. Make them think you're doing something you will never do. And then
just be careful you don't trick yourself.
Yes, that's I've done that so many times.
Wait, I didn't mean to leave my archers all alone over there.
Wait a minute. Why are my archers the one that's getting charged by everybody at the end of the line? That was pretty dumb. No, but
I've done that. I've done that mistake.
Yeah. Oh, the archers can hold the flank. No, archers cannot hold the flank. Not even Lightbringers with their magical armor. They're not holding the flank.
They're not the only ones with 4-up armor. Lancer crossbows also 4-up.
Yes, but they have flaming arrows that they're carrying around.
Yeah, everyone's got great morale these days.
Except you.
Except champions of the stag.
The one guys that don't know how to be like, oh, I'm hard. All right. So that's kind of our deployment thing. He's more of I'm going to recreate my battles from history. I'm going to put something down the middle. I'm going to go the opposite way you think I'm going to go. I'm going to make you spend resources to reposition your army because of the way I deployed. That's my thought process is, what can I do to make you have to spend resources that you don't want to spend to move guys around? Because that's the worst part of this game, is if someone gets into your blind spot and you have no way to move besides activating them or taking horses, you're kind of screwed with some of those more maneuverable armies. Because they're just going to run behind you because you don't know how to turn around and say hi.
Yeah, you're stuck look out for those screamers.
Yeah, you're stuck looking forward. Or those magical Crownland Scouts.
Are those Crownland Scouts?
Or the new Brotherhood with Banner Knights dudes.
Ooh, they look so good. They look so good.
I can't wait to get them on the table and do some.
I'm definitely buying them when they come out. Yeah,
just even their models, just to play with them, will be fun. But yeah, I think that deployment for a lot of people, like you said, is kind of scary, and especially, and like we said at the very beginning, know thy enemy. Take a minute, look over your opponent's army, even ask them, be like, hey, what's their strength? Are they good in combat? Are they good against range? They're in this community, everybody's going to be nice to you. They're going to talk to you about it. They're going to say, oh, this is what they do. Here's their card, blah, blah, blah.
I'd say the biggest thing is just play games, and you'll learn.
Yep.
There's a lot of unknowns when you're first starting out, and everyone loses at the start. Everyone's stats rating starts out at 1,500, and then it takes a dip. It's like a fish hook. Everyone goes down at the start, and then they go up as they learn the game.
Or you stay level like mine.
Yeah. Not all of us can win our very first tournament.
Just right out of the
Just
box.
tooting my own horn there. Yeah. I played like 2 games, and I was like, yeah, I barely know how charges work, but let me just go win this tournament.
That's what makes you you.
That's what makes me me. No, I suck.
Yeah.
I was like 25th at Adepticon this year. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, Adepticon wasn't good. Adepticon was a grind too. That was rough. That was a good. It was a good game.
I really
Good set
liked
of
doing the
games.
team event
The
day
team
one.
event was so much
Yeah,
fun.
that was so much fun. I was like,
Especially,
I was just like, I was not feeling the main event. I don't know.
I think sometimes those main events could be a little bit too stringent,
Maybe
too
I don't know.
stuffy.
Maybe I'm just getting old, Stefan.
Nah.
I'm getting old. All the young guns, they're lapping me. I'm all washed up.
Hey, that's what happens. Those
That's what
new
happens.
those new fresh minds come in with fresh ideas and
Mhm.
turn all of our shit upside down. Next thing you know, we're all running Mother Dragons.
They're
With
pointing their fingers and laughing. Ha ha! This guy's trying to set up a concave. What a noob! What an old
that,
timer!
I will say that concave versus convex, like if you drew squares on there with the lines and you showed like where those lines of sight end up being and how they're missing everybody, like one doesn't support the other
Hmm.
when you're facing out like let me
Yeah.
show the camera, like this. When you're facing out like this, you're not supporting each other. There's a dead spot in the middle.
What you're saying is I needed more brilliant artwork masterpieces in Microsoft Paint.
Yes, you need to
Yeah.
work on your Microsoft Paint skills.
I'll try my best for the fans.
Yes, please. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. This week that was our deployment segment.
And that's not
Well,
like a thing we'll have every week,
no,
because it's like kind
you
of a
can't
one-off.
talk
But
deployment every week. That's
we
we're
will
talking the
we will
same
have a
shit.
list building segment every time. Yeah.
And if you do have any lists that you want us to look over or talk about on the show, drop them into our Discord. There's a channel in our Sunday Slaughter Discord for Around the
We
Seven
are
Kingdoms.
we are looking for and accepting guests, speakers, people who want to come on. Yep.
So if your area has some cool rules, or they want to talk tournaments, or they want to talk about different events that we've run, or things that they could run to help their community. We just did a starter box tournament that we stole from Kurt's community.
Ew.
That was pretty cool.
We're
I
gonna
did
have
win it.
we're gonna have
What?
like a rotating teammates 2v2 tournament
Oh,
coming
that'd
up
be
in like
cool.
a week. Yeah. You'll have a different teammate each time, and your 25 points and their 25 points makes the list. And if you have 2
Halfback.
Varuses, then you have 2 Varuses. Like, good luck.
That's true. That could be weird.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to play like casual, goofy stuff just to like,
Break
take
it
a
up.
break. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like making up some of our own house rules for different terrain and throwing them on the field, like snow and frozen lakes and shit like
We need
that.
like rivers or something. Yeah, like streams.
Frozen lakes, I think, would be good for the north.
Hmm.
When you take Starks or Free Folk, you get frozen lakes as choices.
Oh, we'll do like a whole segment on terrain next episode. That's what we'll
Oh
do.
God, no! I'm not doing a whole segment on terrain. Terrain is
It'll
so
be
boring.
Stefan's segment, terrain.
Oh God, I am not doing a whole segment on terrain. Terrain is so boring to me because 9 times out of 10, it's again if it's player pick, you're picking like there's only 2 or 3 things. No one's picking hedges. No one's hardly ever picking a palisade or a wall. Some people, you don't think people pick low walls? I think
The
no
walls
one.
are like one of the best selections for Baratheons.
Oh, maybe for Baratheons. I don't know. What do they give you? They give +1
Fortified
defense.
and takes away charge bonus.
All right, that's pretty good. The
Yeah.
trees one is the one that's not good.
Trees is still good. It's still fortified.
Yeah, but it doesn't take
And
away
it
charge bonus.
still blocks line of sight for ranged attacks, so your archers can win a range duel.
Yeah, I don't really like them. You can't hide shit in them. You can only hide solos in trees. You can't really hide any. You can't hide an infantry unit in a tree.
Yeah, I wish the template was a little bit bigger because of the way the line of sight works in this game. But yeah,
Or make it like a C instead of like 3 dots. Like make
right.
it so that a unit could go in the forest and you can't see them from the edges. Like the unit is in the forest.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to talk about terrain.
Well, we'll have something to talk about in
Yeah.
the next episode.
We'll go through stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. Again,
What do the fans have to look forwards to for your list building segment next episode, Stephen? Which faction are you gonna do?
oof, I don't know, man. My 2 favorites, of course, are Targs and Night's Watch.
So probably a Targ or a Night's Watch list next episode.
Yeah, I just won our starter box tournament with Night's Watch.
Oh,
So the Knights, I might just show those Night's Watch lists just to go over them. But they're not that bad. Just Sworn Bros suck. I know you're not going to say that, but Sworn Bros having 754 is stupid.
I think they need some buffs. Yeah,
Like that's just
I think they should be 765 for sure. Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense to me. When I'm going up against, I'm like, oh, second rank, I roll 6. No, I don't. I roll 5 dice. Oh shit. I can't do shit
No,
with
I
that.
really like this last patch. A couple of the abilities they did, like the ones they did for like Unsullied, and continuing like what they did with Kingsmen and Queensmen. With like, if your opponent doesn't control this zone, then I think they could do something like that for Sworn Bros. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see what those NCUs for Brotherhood look like.
Mm-hmm.
What
I want
are
Anguy the Archer. I want Lemon Cloak. I want Gendry. Yeah.
that's
Hot
what I
pie.
was just gonna say.
Where's my hot pie?
That's what I was just gonna say. Where you think they're gonna be an NCU? You think that Lemon Cloak will be an NCU and a commander?
We don't even
thought he
know
was.
if he's an attachment.
No,
We
no,
know
Dundarian.
Barrick is a commander, and then
Yeah.
presumably there's another commander in the starter box because every
Has 2.
starter box I think has had 2 commanders, right? So
Oh, would it be so
whether that'll
awesome?
be a Thoros commander or a Lem, we'll see. But
I want a mountain.
I think Tom Seven Strings will be an NCU. Ghost of High Heart will be an NCU. Lady Stoneheart, I imagine, would be an NCU. Hot Pie, I bet, would be an NCU.
What's he gonna get? He gonna heal an extra one with his
Probably
pies?
like a heal. Yeah, he
Because he's
precious
a small
supplies,
Aemon
feeding.
instead of for each destroyed rank, for each rank you have still.
I'm really curious to see what they'll do with Gendry. I think he's a fan favorite.
Yep. All right. Well, those are our thoughts. Those are our thoughts for the week. Hopefully, we'll be back here next week. I'm gonna try now that that's the end of the show for us this week. We'll be back hopefully next week or the week after, depending on schedules. And if you want to get on the show, your community wants to kind of showcase itself.
You want a community spotlight? Yeah.
Yeah. Come on up.
Reach out to us. Message us.
Leave something down in the comments or message us on Discord. We're always around, and we'll see you next time, man. See you later. Peace.
Adios.
I don't